got to rip this piece of plywood. And whenever I have to rip something that's long, it's a big hassle. I was noticing yesterday when I had my fisheye lens on, by the way, I just left it on, it's on right now, that's why you're getting this distorted view. However, it makes the workshop seem a lot bigger than it really is. It's actually only 22 feet from behind the lathe there, that wall, to that wall right there. It's only 22 feet. And the width here is maybe a smidgen over 12. It's not as big as it looks. All my heavy stuff is on wheels, so that except for my hollow chisel mortiser, it's not on wheels. That's where it's been for years. Otherwise, if I want to do anything big, I have to rearrange the furniture. So that's what I'm doing right now. And there's something else I think I got to do. I'm noticing my blade is burning through the wood. There's two reasons why that happens, so we'll talk about that in a minute. Just let me finish getting everything organized here. So I've got at least 16 feet from here out there, or rather 8 feet from here to there, and also out there. So in other words, I need a swath of 16 feet or more. And I can do it, I've done it before. But it's a big nuisance.
Now I should be ashamed of myself here. A lot of guys would give their eye teeth to have this workshop. Yeah, and here it sounds like I'm complaining about it being too small. Anyway, you know what? I think I just got too much stuff in here. However, just carrying in a sheet of plywood, or half a sheet of plywood, it hurts now. I got arthritis all over the place, especially in my knees. Got another problem going on. In a few days I'm going to be 72. Now the obvious problem, I'm grossly overweight. Now I know one of these three problems I can do something about, and I have in the past. I've been up and down, and up and down. I'm up again. Maybe in a year or two I'll be down, if I'm still alive. Anyway.
Now I think what I should do is maybe deal with this blade problem before I get too organized here and then have to move everything twice. Now this is the type of tool you do not lend to anybody, because it'd make a great pry bar, and if you're to use it as a pry bar, it's going to lose its accuracy. Now my blade here has not been sharpened since I put it on new. And I've had it, it's my favorite blade, so I keep using it all the time, and there's a chance that it's, in fact there's not a chance, it's definitely, a little bit you might call dull. And so that's part of the problem. But I think the biggest problem is that the work is not going straight through the blade, it's kind of going at a bit of an angle, skewed to the blade. And the reason being is, I think my fence has got bent out of shape a little bit. I just noticed it the other day when I was lining it up with one of these grooves here. I was noticing it's about a 1/16 of an inch out. It's even here, but here at this end, it's not. And I think what happened is somebody probably grabbed hold of the other end of the fence and used it to move the table saw, and it wasn't me. I think I know when it happened, because it was about that time that I noticed that the blade was starting to burn the wood more than it had before. Let's put it that way. Okay. I just want to check and make sure the mandrel is straight to the to everything here. Oh yeah, I'm way off. Okay, let's get this fence adjusted here. Could be that the tabletop is out too now. Let's move this half a turn and try it again. that's terrible. No wonder I'm burning. When I first got this straight edge, I was noticing that the specification says it's to within a 15,000th of an inch over the entire length. And so I'm thinking, well, how did they know that? Like, what would you compare it to? Well, you compare it to another straight edge, but how do you know that that's right? And so, I'm eyeballing along the edge of it like this, and I'm noticing that when I get it at an extremely acute angle and I'm looking like this, I can see what's off in the distance reflected perfectly across the entire surface. So I thought, okay, so I found a period on a piece of paper, on some printout, and what I did was I eyeballed right down the entire thing until the period at the far end, which was maybe just an inch or so off, it completely took up this entire surface. And it didn't distort. So because it didn't distort in any way, I knew that it was, for all intents and purposes, perfect. Now, of course, it's not perfect, but it's perfect enough for me. Just killing time here. I don't want to have to stand up. Now I realize a person has a tendency to want to blame somebody else for your problems. And in this case, it had nothing to do with anybody else. I discovered what was wrong here. When I took my Allen wrench here and went in behind and was adjusting a little set screw, similar to this one you see right here, there is no locking nut on it. So you can't lock it in place after you get it adjusted. And I was noticing that this one and the one also on the other end are a little bit on the loose side. Maybe I could use some kind of Loctite or something, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, what was happening was they were just slowly vibrating, out of whack. The idea is that when you get it adjusted into place and then when you pull this down, it pulls the fence straight up against the set screw on the other side. And it straightens it out to whatever you have it set at. Anyway, I've readjusted it and I'm going to test it out now and just see what happened. Yeah, it's easy to blame somebody else, isn't it? Okay, this is the same kind of plywood as we're going to be cutting in a few minutes. And nice straight edge there, and we'll just see what happens. Now I know it looks like it may be burned down there, but it didn't. That's just the way the plywood is. I should have done that months ago. What was the matter with me, putting up with that? Okay, this piece of plywood, it's 96 inches long. But these pieces are more than 32. In other words, 32 times 3 would be 96. Now, it'd be alright if I just could have 2 off this piece and 2 off this piece and then 2 off the next piece. However, this is too wide to get 3 strips off this piece of plywood. But if I do it like this, well, I think you see what I'm getting at here. It should work. Anyway, that's the plan. So I'm going to cut 2 pieces this wide. I'll end up with a piece left over, probably about 5 inches. Several years ago now, when I bought this saw from Canadian Woodworker, I picked it out mainly because, well, one of the reasons, because I really like this heavy-duty fence. It was just so solid. However, if I press really hard, it will spring just a little. And I will be pressing really hard against it with that plywood to make sure that it, stays straight. So I'm just going to put this here and tighten this in place. Now it's going to take a lot of pressure to move the fence. It can go this way, but I won't be pulling on it anyway. But it won't go this way.
Well, as you can see, I don't always get my exposure exactly dead on. Well, at least we can see the detail in the dark areas.